Hello, hello. My name is Katie Be Happy. Welcome to your amazing restorative reset flow. First off, I'd like to start off by thanking our local State Farm agents, Sarah Friend and Sal Cerda. They allowed me to have this teaching opportunity on a virtual class, and I just want to say a big thank you. Gratitude's really important in this season. I want to let you know a little bit about me, the reason that I'm here or the reason I do what I do. Katie Be Happy is not my given name. I received it as I was taking a journey. I moved out from New Jersey to San Diego about 14 years ago and was a little lost from my mom's passing. She passed of breast cancer when I was 14. And so I've been on this constant search of what health looks like, what balance looks like, what moderation looks like in all ways. If you know me, I love tequila, but I also love working out really hard. I love the balance that it takes to be a human being in this world, and those facets are important. Partially through my journey, I had Bell's palsy about 5 years ago, which is half of my face was paralyzed. So I was stuck with my eye open, my lips open, and especially in that process of being paralyzed, stuck, basically like a botched Botox job that I didn't ask for. It was this, again, energetic opportunity for me to figure out what is health, what is balance. And so I've been a master yoga teacher and a personal trainer for over 10 years. My experience has been one of conditioning, if you would, that what we're about to do today and embark on this journey together, it's just 40 minutes of your day or less, right? It's about 3% of the 24 hours that you have. And you can't just say, check, I've done down dog or child's pose, I've gotten proper sleep, I have good relationships, I'll be happy the rest of my life. No, part of who I am and what needs to happen every day is to figure out each day what brings you balance, to come back to the idea of balance. And so today, as we approach the holiday season, I know a lot of us need that extra restoration, if you would, and we'll be focusing a lot on mental health. Physical health will happen naturally. We're gonna move for about 30 minutes. And I believe that it's a huge key to everything that we do. Movement, in my A-type personality, I'm a go, go, go kind of person. We need to move a little bit to break up any stuck tension or energy that we have. So we're gonna move, and as we move, I'll filter in some affirmations, some things for you to understand more on the deeper mental health level of who you are. Because we can't just get a workout, we have to also get a work in. That doing down dog isn't enough, that we're gonna do these tradition that's been around for 5,000 years we call yoga, but in essence, that's just not enough. We have to do all of the things that encompass being a good human. Cultivating strong relationships, having proper nutrition. What does it mean to put things into your body? Not just food, but the thoughts that we think. Cultivating good sleep and proper healing and restoring, which is what is going to happen right now. We'll go into more of a parasympathetic state, the healing state, the rest and digest. What does it mean to have therapeutic relationships? These are really important factors in your life where do you have people that uprise you or do you have people that pull you down? Do you have interactions that make you want to be a better person, right? That lighthouses in your life. And finally, expressing gratitude, which kind of brings us all around to this perfect November holiday of Thanksgiving, is where in your life can you cultivate what's going right? COVID has been especially hard for me, especially as a trainer. I'm sure everyone has had different hurdles in their lives, but this past quarantine and the pandemic has flipped my business upside down. As a business owner of an LLC and a 501c3, I adventure around the world, taking people through my company Be Inspired all across the world. A week-long trip to re-delve into who you are and the best version of yourself. And obviously, when people aren't really letting us in right now, and we're a little bit grounded in our country and in our homes, I had to reshape who I am and what my business looks like. What I even want to give to the world if I can't give you travel, if I can't give you movement outside of here. What does it look like to create a new normal? And so here in this space, in my living room, in this amazing, awesome place that we have together, I invite you on this journey with me for the next 40 minutes or less to become my virtual neighbor, to be the best we can be and show up. And although I can't see you directly, I promise you that I'm with you. I can feel so much of you, especially, I'm not gonna be able to see my family this holiday. And so, thank you for being here. That being said, I want you guys to answer or ask questions during the experience because it's really cool with our StateFarm platform that you're able to ask questions, and at the end I'll be able to answer them. There's also a poll that's happening in the beginning and also a little bit towards the end. You can answer in that poll. It's asking you about how multi-health is multidimensional, just like I shared, and there's 5 facets that's asking what for you is the most challenging part of your mental health in this holiday season, in general, maybe 2020, any part of it. And then before jumping into the actual movement part, I want to take note, there is a kind of a yoga card, a card that you can follow along with, especially if maybe you can't move today and you're just watching from your chair. You can take this card and reference it later. The first 2 pages are movement based, some of the basic asanas, the poses, and then the last page has some of the gratitude, affirmations, the quotes, the statistics that I'll be mentioning throughout the course of the flow. Especially maybe if you're a little bit newer to the class, which I know a lot of the people are today, this is your chance to kind of check in with that. So with that, I'm really excited to move with you today. And we're gonna start in the most basic of poses called child's pose. So bring me to the back of your mat, bring your big toes to touch and your knees go wide. Walk your hands out nice and long in front of you. Let your head rest down. Now, child's pose is an inversion. Your heart's above your head, right? Blood flows pouring from your heart down to your head. If this is uncomfortable in any way, you can come sit up on your shins or sit on your booty and take a meditative position instead. As we cultivate mental health in this season, and as you're in your child's pose, resting down, head down, find energy all the way on the inhale. So it's as if blood flow is pouring down into the skull, into the sternum, and then back out. I shared with you that my mom passed when I was 14, and I was lucky enough to be with her in her last breaths. And part of why my company's called Be Inspired, why I do what I do every day, 10 years of fitness if you would, it's to figure out why we got to have another breath. So as you're in your child's pose, ask yourself, why did I get a breath today? Every second, 1.8 people don't get another breath. So for you today, on this wonderful Tuesday or whenever you're rewatching this, ask yourself, why did I get a breath and what can I give? And if maybe the answers aren't so clear, let's move a little together and see if something comes to the forefront. So seal your lips if you're looking for that deeper diaphragmatic breathing. Inhale deep through your nose. Seal your lips, exhale back through your nose. Now crawl your body into tabletop. Stack your shoulders right over your wrists, your knees under your hips. Tuck your toes a little bit, and for my more advanced people, you could even hover your knees a little if that feels right. Take a deep breath in and push your sit bones back a bit. Exhale, runner's lunge. Bring your right foot forward and stay here. Drop your back left knee to the earth. This is already a really delicious, intense stretch on your left thigh. You can drop down onto your forearms. That's cool too. Let everything drop down and in. We're going to be in each of these initial poses, what we call integration, for about 30 seconds to a minute. What's happening kinesthetically in your body is that the Golgi tendon, the reactor in your brain, it needs at least 30 seconds to stop defending. Our body's really smart. It loves to defend itself, meaning if we feel like we're overstretching or going too far, it's going to stabilize and protect. But then after 30 seconds, there's this kind of softening. The fascia, which is the inner webbing of your, let's call it sausage casing over your muscles, bones, ligaments, and tendons. That fascia, it starts to soften. And then the healing can really begin after the defense wall breaks down. Now you've got 3 more breaths. Investigate for you, can you breathe so deeply that you actually feel it in the resistant part of the stretch? For me today, after a good run, I can feel it in my hip. Maybe it's a different place for you, and that's the cool part, is that your body, it tells a different story every single day. It tells the story of what you've traveled yesterday, last weekend, this month, this year. The narrative is what we have to pay attention to. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Walk your right foot to the center of the mat, look forward, forward fold. Just bring your feet alongside one another and hang really easy at the top of your mat. For me and my body, it feels excellent to grab my opposite elbow creases and rock side to side. If you need more stability today, tense your fingers on the ground, or if you have things at home that are similar to a block, maybe a water bottle of some sort, a wine bottle if that's your thing, a pillow even. Anything that brings the ground closer to your hands or feet does help. Take a deep breath in. Surrender into the fold. Now you've got about 20 seconds left in this sweet fold. Imagine all of the blood flow from the heart now back in that inversion space. It's okay if you feel a little bit dizzy in the pose. Feeling dizzy means that blood flow is moving in a different direction than it normally does. And that's what we're trying to do in the stretching. All day we're like robots, protracted, typing, texting, driving. We're trying to do your movement patterns in a different way to break up anything that's stuck or stagnant. Because your body, it's a use it or lose it mentality. And so if we don't move it like we did as kids, then we start to lose that mobility. With a big bend in your knees, rise up to mountain pose, lift your arms up over your head. As you get tall and long in your arms, take a deep breath in. Then bend your left hand behind your back. Grab your right hand for your left elbow. You can stay in side stretch. Take your whole body over to the right. It might feel good. It's opening up your lats and your triceps, all the muscles, the big muscle in your back. If you want a deeper stretch, sidestep the left foot over and reach. We're going to be here for about 10 breaths. I'll be your mirror image as I face forward. As you take that nice side stretch, remember, you're looking for the soft wall. So the idea in yoga is not to bend into a pretzel, although sometimes it's cool and fun. The idea is to find the place where there's resistance. And then you meet that resistance with the cooling nature of your breath. How can you form a therapeutic relationship with your body and yourself? Because mental health is multidimensional, but the therapeutic relationships, it starts with your relationship to you. So even as you hold this, can the texture of your words that you say to yourself and your thoughts be encouraging and soft? 2 more breaths. Then come back through center, realign your feet at hip width. You can keep your hands as they are if you like and generously fold back down. Come halfway lift, inhale, lift your head up in line with your butt. Now this is the opposite of a forward fold. The idea of a halfway lift is teaching you how to use your back and hamstrings to stand up. Put the weight in your heels, like a deadlift action, pull in, inhale. The inhale lifts your abs up. Exhale, step back to a plank or a tabletop. So those of you that are craving a little bit more restoration, you could totally be back in tabletop where we started. A little bit more core fire, off your knees into plank. Inhale, shift 2 inches forward and lower all the way down to your belly. Look to the left, rest your right cheek on your hands or the ground, and windshield wiper your legs side to side. Ask yourself maybe how long has it been since you just laid on the floor and enjoyed it. I know my day moves so fast, one thing to the next. And just like any holiday that we'll have, you're probably gonna move fast too. So what we're doing is conditioning, practicing, that when the world gets a little bit tough, when it starts to take your breath away, can you come back to what it feels like this, to take a few breaths, release tension from your low back and your quadriceps. This is the opposite of sitting, if you notice. And then cool and calm. Breathe in. You can stay here if this is already enough. Remember, we're trying to restore. Or come upright and grab a hold. Left hand reaches for your left foot. Push your foot down to the extent that you feel a nice stretch in the top of your leg and your hip, which is your hip flexor and your quadricep. You can take a little Bakasana wing, a little grasshopper from that left elbow pushing down. And you shouldn't feel any striking pain. You see, yoga is about that soft wall dull ache. That's when you know you're targeting the fascia and the muscle. If there's striking pain like a needle sensation, you want to back out. Just go to the place where you feel a dull ache. I have a lot of people, a lot of my students who don't know the difference sometimes because the stretching's so intense. So go to a place where the stretching's a little bit less intense and breathe. We want to encourage your body. And especially in this holiday week, as we work and condition your mental health, we want to make sure that you're also encouraging to yourself, because anytime someone's mean to you, they're 10 times meaner to themselves in their head. That's why they're being mean. It's always about them, not about you, even though it doesn't feel that way. Take a deep breath in. Woo! All right, let's switch. Other side. Left forearm down. Take that quadricep stretch. Remember, we're aiming to feel something. So if you don't feel, push a little bit more intensely down through your right foot. Stay erect in your chest to get more of a, we call it Sphinx pose. Upright. Breathe. There's going to be resistance, and especially as we end this year. There's about a month left to 2020. And so many people think, okay, when the calendar resets 2021, everything will be better. That's not the way it works. But we can bring our mind state to something that's pretty transformational. New beginnings are sometimes disguised as painful endings. 3 breaths. Knowing that something that doesn't feel so good, maybe sad or lost or lonely, that feeling is new beginnings just disguised. So as you create this therapeutic relationship with yourself, sit in the space where you can trust that something good's on the horizon for you. Breathe in. Put your palms under your chest. Push yourself back to child's pose, all the way back to where we started from the very beginning. Breathe. If you want a more intense shoulder stretch, flip your palms to face up in supination like you're holding a big bowl of gravy. Hold on tight, breathe in, breathe out. You're gonna be here for another 5 or 6 breaths, depending on the length of your breath. Now, one of the cool things they teach us in the lineage of yoga is that it's a tradition, a myth if you would, that's passed down saying each human comes into the world with a certain number of breaths. So the more deeply that you breathe, the longer you live. Now, I don't know if that's a tested theory, but it does remind you to breathe super deeply, not superficially, into the depths. Diaphragmatic breathing that inhales and exhales laterally expands your ribs. Instead of just short breathing into your upper chest or upper belly, go into the depths, all the way down into your pelvis. And then your blood pressure rises because it's so oxygenated, it's so cool. And then all of that fresh oxygen-rich blood flow, it pumps into your legs, your arms, your fingers, and you get more energy because of the depth of your breath. It's really cool that you can re-energize. From child's pose, come back to your tabletop, just where we started. Inhale, hover your knees and pull your core muscles in. Push your booty back. Runner's lunge, send your left foot forward on the other side. Same little dance we did before. Stay and take your own representation. Even from day to day, my body's different. Not to mention the way that your body's anatomically different, right? Everybody has a different anatomy. The way that your bone, your femur bone sits in the hip socket, every single human has a different way that they sit. And so certain lunges feel different to certain people. Certain poses do as well. Day to day, depending on what you did to work out, what you might have eaten or drank the past couple days, that also has an effect. The things you eat or drink, they stay in your system for up to 72 hours initially. I always like to tell my clients, you have 5 breaths. You don't eat a donut and see it appear on your butt cheek, right? You eat a donut and over time, that excess of calories, it eventually can add, let's say weight eventually. It's the same thing as stretching right now. You don't immediately see yourself preventing an injury, let's say. Over time, the small habits that you have of stretching, they prevent injury. Take a deep breath in here, feel that nice hip stretch. Then wiggle your left foot to center, ground yourself strong, forward fold at the top of the mat. Another 30 seconds, and for those of you that have pretty open hamstrings, you could take your hands behind your calf muscles, give yourself a hug, or interlace in front of your shins and grab for your opposite shins. Hands through the center, grab and straighten. Finding the balance for you today. What we're doing is conditioning and setting yourself up to be the best you today, for the rest of your week, for the rest of this year. And being a good, best version of yourself is being a good virtual neighbor to me, right? I've got lots of actual neighbors. Some of them are not so cool. And at the same time, in this new quarantine community, we are all actually virtual neighbors. And just you showing up to this class today, already, you've attributed so many good, let's call success chips into your little bank. You've done such good work for yourself, A, committing to showing up and B, doing it, that all of a sudden you're gonna start to build that self-esteem and confidence that carries into the times when maybe you don't have as much. And then you can pull from that successful feeling that you're creating right now to create balance and be the good neighbor, be the good family member, be whatever you need to be when life wants to pull it and resist you down. My interlacers come back out. Rise slowly up to mountain pose again. Stand really firm in your posture. So mountain pose, you think about how majestic a mountain is. Your body's standing tall. And oftentimes, even as we stand, we've got this, I tend to if I'm tired, kind of tuck my tailbone and stick my pooch out. Instead, mountain pose teaches you good posture to stand with your heart open. And then oxygen-rich blood flow pours down from your hands, the gateway to your heart, into the heart. Take a giant breath in. Take your right hand behind your back. Left hand grabs for your elbow. And you can side stretch or even sidestep the right foot sideways. The mind wants to wander. That's what it does. We have over 60,000 thoughts at least in a day. And that means you can hold at least 3 to 5 thoughts at one time. What yoga does is a form of meditation. And meditation isn't oming or chanting. Meditation is you focusing on one thing, single pointed focus. So that instead of thinking 5 thoughts, what am I eating later? The floor is cold, the lights are bright, blah, 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 blah. All these subconscious chatter, superficial things that don't matter. Meditation becomes, ooh, I can feel my sides stretch open. I can feel the way my breath traces down my nose. And then that single pointed focus becomes how you stay present. And it's not like, boom, I did meditation, it's good forever. No, every day it's a practice, a conditioning. That's what mental health is. That's what building your best self is. Every single day, a little bit of conditioning like we are right now. Now come through center, swoop it down, whether you swing or fold with bent knees always. Heavy, generous bend in your knees. Come halfway up again, inhale, toning your low back. You can stay, or if you want a little bit more core work, hands fly behind you. Big breath in. Exhale back to plank or tabletop. You're either on your knees or in plank. Building a little bit of fire, let your head align with your back, heels and hips. And it's easy to dip your pelvis or arc up. I want to see a little bit of core tuck in, and then feel the muscles that protect your heart, your pec muscles. Feel them fire up as you push away from the ground. Deep breath in. Exhale, give me one little push up halfway down. Either cobra pose for low back sensitivity or upward facing dog. Hold steady in your upward dog and protrude your heart forward. No matter where you are, if you're an upward dog or cobra, both are a little crunch for your low back love handle area, let's say, where your back meets your pants. That little tiny crunch is actually improving the long-term health of your lumbar spine, where it's the most injured place on most Americans' bodies. Take a deep breath in, upward facing dog. Now trace your gaze over your right shoulder and then over your left. Back and forth a few times, deep breath in, Child's pose, ha. As you roll back into this kind of base pose, option to stay here for a whole 60 seconds or thread your right arm underneath of your left. Drop your right cheek to the mat, just breathe here. It might feel good to thread the left arm back behind you. If you're taking that left arm thread, it's a half bind, where it binds behind your back and reaches for your right hip. Go to the place that is that soft wall again. It's a child's pose twist with a soft wall, meaning not forcing, encouraging. So when we talk about mental health and that poll that you saw in our awesome platform, the 5 facets of what mental health is, we have to think about what a strong relationship is. It is devastating to me to not be able to see people that I normally get to see, people that I call family, whether it's blood or feels like family or blood, chosen family. Jim Rohn's very popular for saying that you are the sum of the 5 people that are the closest to you. Let's call them your good neighbors. Who are the 5 virtual people that you're the closest with right now? Because we've had to redefine. Maybe, who are the 5 people you spend the most time with? Who do you give your time to? Talking on the phone, FaceTiming, or maybe you're lucky enough to actually see them in person. Then you have to ask yourself, in order to cultivate good mental health, especially in the holidays, are those 5 closest people to you elevating you? Do you feel lifted when you're around them? Do you feel like you could be yourself? If you're in child's pose, you can stay or make it embryo's pose with your legs touching. Those of you that are taking the twist, switch your arms. Just go to the other side. Left palm threads underneath, left cheek down. Right palm can take it up and back. And then let's say you're like, Katie, I don't know, man. Those 5 people that are closest to me, they're not really elevating me. Let's say you don't have a choice. Maybe it's a coworker or a boss. The people you do have a choice about, let's make the last month of this year a dedication to building strong relationships. Making sure that A, you are that best self, that good neighbor, that person that you want to be around these people, and vice versa. That best self, that they're a good person to be around, they're a strong relationship for you to have. Take 4 more deep breaths. To finish the movement, we're going to take that same template. Everyone come back to your tabletop position, please. Breathe in, hover your knees, step your right foot into runner's lunge. Do this again, step back to tabletop with your knees down or active child's pose pushback, and then drive forward again to lunge. A few times on your own. Take it back and lunge forward. It doesn't have to be fast. We're building life force energy. We're building momentum in your hips, the biggest muscle, bone, and joint structure in your body. So in that stability of your big hip bones, there comes a need for flexibility and movement. Follow your breath flow in and out as a way to cultivate a little bit more movement there. Inhale deeply. Exhale, pulling it back and forth. Awesome. Let's all land with your right leg forward in runner's lunge. Drop your back knee if it's accessible, and then just slightly look over your right shoulder. So we're going to add to it. Stay or lift your right palm to the sky. It might feel even good to kind of leverage against your right leg, or reach back and grab your foot. Finding length and longevity through your neck. Inhale. Look back over your right shoulder. So even just stretching like this enables you to have better sleep. It's so amazing because sleep is the ultimate healer. There's 2 parts of the nervous system. The sympathetic, which we're in most of the day, the response, the fight or flight, and the parasympathetic where we heal. And most people who can breathe deeply and find calm are able to get into that parasympathetic state faster. Stretching helps take that restlessness out of your system so you can fall asleep easier and be in that healing space better. Sleep is extremely critical to that mental health. Inhale. Exhale. All right, good. Bring it back through center. Woo. Adjust now into a low lunge like we did before. Maybe start to straighten your legs into pyramid. Let your face fall down, head towards your knee, 3 breaths. It doesn't mean that it has to be as straight as my leg. Take a little bend in your knee. As long as you feel a stretch in the back of your right leg, you're doing it right. And then take any tension out of your face muscles, neck, head. This is about the time in class where I actually start to like it. I don't really even like the beginning part of most yoga classes because my head's running too fast. I can't even focus. But just about this point, your mind starts to meet your body. And then one of our main facets of mental health, gratitude, it can start to come in. I'm so grateful I can feel my hamstrings. I'm so grateful I can feel my calf muscles stretch. I'm so grateful my legs are responding right now. What's going right? Breathe in. Breathe out. Step your right leg back. Tabletop or hovering child's pose. Last set. Fly your left leg into runner's lunge, just like we did before. Fly back. Runner's lunge on the right. Just doing this lunge position a few times, helping to loosen up any joints. Even just the flexion of the wrists here back and forth. This is like reversing typing or texting. A plank position is the reversal of holding your cell phone. I think mine's at about 10 hours a day. Meet me with your left leg forward. How's that for plank incentive? Reversing carpal tunnel, that's true. That feels good. Okay, remember our steps. Left hand to left thigh, look over your shoulder. Maybe you reach your arm up or take the twist. Now what's critical about this twist, what's super important, is that you get a spinal twist. Your spine moves in 3 directions. Flexion and extension, lateral like we did, or twisting transverse like we're doing. Most people rarely twist in the day. Like, I think the extent might be looking over your shoulder to back the car up, and now we have backup cameras in some cars, so we don't even do that as much. Twisting is so critical, not just for spinal health and longevity, but also for your digestive tract. Your colon is an upside down U shape, right? So our incentive, our goal, is to push the ascending into the descending colon. Anything that's stuck or residual, any bloating or excess, push it out through a twist. Right now there's pressure on the lower left side, that descending part of your colon. Take a deep breath in, twist and look over the left shoulder. Awesome. And then in your own time, let's wiggle into pyramid again. Left foot to center, bring your feet hips width. Low lunge is a great place to stay if that's already a stretch. Or pyramid, straighten it out and lean. Maybe you already feel the gratitude drugs starting to pump through your body. Did you know that you could naturally produce some sweet drugs? Dopamine, oxytocin. Bringing these amazing sensations, these natural drugs that pump through the hormones, the endocrine system. They help bring brain balance, DHEA. These are all things that happen when you move your body, just like we're doing right now. And in that movement, all of a sudden the world can slow down. You're refocusing on the meditation again. The mental awareness of what your leg feels like, what your foot feels like against your ground, what it feels like to breathe so deeply that your lungs inflate like they're almost hugging your heart. Paying attention to the subtleties is actually what this is all about. And as we're rounding the movement down, take a few generous breaths, knowing that you've done really, really good work for your body today. It doesn't have to be much. Just a few minutes of tuning in and bringing it all together. Being aware of the moment, because guess what? this moment is gonna pass you by. 12 o'clock Pacific, when we started in my California time, that's already gone. Time's gonna go by whether you're in it or not. So we gotta focus on being in what we can. Ooh, breathe in. Breathe out. Do your best, gently, come down to your sit bones. Onto your back for butterfly pose. Bring your feet to touch, knees go wide. In my body, it feels really good to bring one hand to my heart and one to my belly. Take a few breaths here. My feet touch, your knees splay open in a way that's comfortable. And if it's not comfortable, you can move your knees a little forward or feet back. We hear this tag word gratitude all the time, especially around Thanksgiving. It can be really overused. But gratitude isn't something that you cheesily give because it's Thanksgiving or because it's November. Gratitude is the outward expression of things that are going right, because there are always things going wrong, always. But to cultivate mental health, to be a good human, to be a good neighbor, we have to have the vision of looking always for what's going right. It's so easy to point out things that aren't. The irony of this good neighbor idea and working with this amazing company, StateFarm, is that I have a crazy neighbor, one that hates me, but I also have a neighbor that turned into my boyfriend during COVID. And I would have never met him if I wasn't literally in my home or in my yard all the time. He's a good neighbor too, a different definition of it. But in actuality, like, this idea of us looking for what's going right instead of wrong, I've been faced in all these new facets, whether it's 2020 and my business shifting, whether it's missing my family and not being able to fly home or lead the retreat to Thailand that was supposed to happen this week. I can focus so deeply, or even a new relationship, all the scary things that aren't going right. But in this time and space, in this week, do you have the ability to point out, to salute, and look for the things that are going right? In our final pose of the day, we're gonna back and forth close your legs. Pretend they're shutter doors. Right leg on left, left leg on right. Whew, it's a very gentle way to open up your hips and back. If you're feeling a little saucy this afternoon, take your legs up and we're gonna swivel them. Swivel to the left, big circle like you're driving a giant monster truck steering wheel, and swivel the other way. Breathe in, circle. Breathe out and exhale. This is a great way to wake up your back in the morning, and just this simple flow that we've taken together hits all the major movements, restoring your body and making sure that we prevent injury. You see, I always say it's like stretching in yoga and movement. It's like brushing your teeth. You don't see the cavities being removed as you do it, but over time you trust that you won't get a cavity. When you take mindful moments like this to build your mental health, your connection with yourself, mobility and flexibility, all of a sudden you don't freak out when it comes time for Aunt Fran to be that Aunt Fran or the Karens. You've got the time like this to condition and reset. So everyone take a big good morning kind of stretch together. Inhale. Exhale, pull your knees up and come to a big seat with me. I end every class with affirmations before we get into our question and answer. So say and repeat after me. Rub your hands together, sit up really tall. Hey today! And then you say at your home, hey today. I'm ready for the best day of my life. It's a choice I make. To choose love in all the fear. To choose trust in all of the doubt. And to know that I'm right where I need to be. Thank you for joining me for this movement class. My name's Katie Be Happy. We end with a word that means thank you. I say namaste, but then I also say nama-cray because I'm a little cray too. So namaste, nama-cray. Thank you. Okay, team?
We have the results from the poll. The answer to what everybody said for their areas are most challenging is proper nutrition. and the runner-up was good sleep.
Well, what's cool in the poll is that it's awesome to hear that you guys think you have strong and therapeutic relationships and that you are able to express gratitude. Those I think are actually harder as a daily practice. But mental health is also, like you guys have shared, proper nutrition and good sleep. And that starts with taking time. So here's my quick tips on whatever I can give to access more proper nutrition and proper sleep. My awesome Be Inspired boot campers, they know that I say you need to drink at least your body weight in ounces of water each day if you want to be fully sleep ready, fully digested, less hungry, better complexion, less acne, less anxious, no restless leg. So I weigh 145 pounds. I'm gonna try to drink at least 100 to 120 ounces a day. My peak would be 145. That would be awesome. And that also goes in line with proper nutrition, right? Because then we're less hungry, we're more satiated, we're not moving, and then so dehydrated that you think that you're hungry when you're not. And then also along the lines of sleep, no screen time. 30 minutes after you get up and 30 minutes before you can go to bed, if you can help it. I read a book, I'm currently rereading Harry Potter because the news is just too much for me right now. So 30 minutes before bed, I'm rereading Harry Potter and it sets my dreams in the right trajectory. If 30 minutes in the morning doesn't serve you, I know we have busy lives, this is my key. 10 minutes, hit your snooze button, but don't go to sleep. Instead, take 10 minutes, maybe walk to the bathroom, maybe you lay in bed and do legs up the wall. You just turn around and put your legs up and you let yourself just visualize your day, what you want to get out of it. I've got meditations on my YouTube channel, Katie Be Happy, that help that first 10 minutes for you. But if you just want to lay and visualize, the minute you pick up your phone, you're on other people's agenda. You're a manager of your day instead of a creator. So what you're trying to do is be in the creation of your own day. So that's my best advice. 100 ounces of water. I mean, if you want to go protein, let's say about 70 grams of protein a day, half your body weight. And then keeping that no screen time because our mind and the blue light goes really fast. And if you can just make those simple things, at least for this next month at the end of the year, that would be a really great way to set off 2021.
One question that we had was, do you have any meditation music recommendations?
Oh.
Like a Spotify playlist?
Yeah, I do. So my Spotify's Katie Be Happy, but if you YouTube, I sleep to one that's a 10-hour of hertz frequency. So it's like I do copyright-free meditation music, and there's all of them that come up, a 10-hour, a 6-hour, similar to the sounds that you hear now, even more like majestic, if you would. Very beautiful, and I sleep to it, especially if my mind's running really fast.
Ronan O asked, what yoga poses can help me stretch my glutes, aka my peachy?
Got it, yep. That's my Irish friend. Last night, I had to learn how to cook Thanksgiving turkeys. And so I've done 2 now. They're crazy awesome. And the dark meat is that area. So how to stretch your dark meat, that beautiful turkey leg, if you would, like runner's lunge, Ronan O, or half pigeon. You could take it a little bit deeper across. Stretching your glutes. He brings it up. He's also an instructor in Boston. It's a great way to utilize length in your glutes, which actually helps open your low back muscles. This is a huge thing because that's where everyone feels tension. So the more you can stretch your peaches, the more that you can actually take low back tension out.
I'm a beginner. What exactly is yoga?
That's a great question. Yoga is a 5,000-year-old tradition that was mimicked in caves. Like when I travel to India, you can actually see these caves, the hieroglyphics. There's hieroglyphics of human in poses, like I'm right now seated, or downward dog, or child's pose like we did. There's hieroglyphics of people in these poses mimicking our childlike state, like kids, how they're so flexible and pliable, and animals and things in nature, like tree pose or mountain pose, because nature is our natural state too, and it helps us feel more free to mimic this place that we came from. That's the idea, is to just get back to that idea of flexibility and mobility and freedom, because we want to be able to move in lightness throughout your holiday and throughout the rest of your life.
All right, our last question is from Sal, our StateFarm agent. How much rest is recommended between yoga sessions?
That's a great question too. I feel as if rest is depending on you. If you feel extremely fatigued all the time, you might plateau. Your body might be at that place. So you want to go to a place where I take about 2 days off a week. I move twice as much or 3 times as much as I rest. But doing yoga is going to help you tune in to your own messaging to see, is this really something that I need to be doing today, or is it something that I feel like I should be doing? There's a big difference between the two. So ask yourself, the more you do these slower practices, the restorative stuff we did today, the more you're able to really tune into you and the signs and signals. And then with that, I just want to say I hope you feel renewed about this, and I really appreciate all of our local State Farm agents, the people that really made this virtual family and experience possible. Sarah Friend and Sal Serda, thank you guys so, so much. Thank you for coming together. You guys are my virtual family and virtual community, and I so appreciate you for showing up. Keep doing this work, because you're gonna go out and be the lighthouses and spread what mental health is to everyone this holiday season.
It's over. Good job.
Yay!
Dude, that was awesome. That was
Good. Good.
Sure.
My friend Ronan, he's such a dick. Did he write ass in there?
He's an arse. And I was like, ooh.